Um, but it's possible that we'll be able to hear you, but that you're going to come through on my microphone. It's possible I can hear you on the phone, so it's possible that that your voice will come through my phone into my computer. We'll see. But the most important thing is we're just kind of getting this started. I don't know what I want to do with this video, but I think that just in case this ends up being usable, I wanted to say that I have the extraordinary honor of having with me on this call today the finest karate man I have known in my entire life, friend and family and mentor for so many years, Steve Muhammad. So, Steve, what I kind of want to do is just kind of talk to you the way we usually do, and just kind of see if anything useful comes out of it, and then we'll figure out how to do this better as time goes on. The camera isn't focused on you now.
Okay, I'm changing it around, trying to get comfortable.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good.
But you still have that thing up there talking about something about the meeting.
Yeah, it's a meeting in progress. It'll probably go away by itself at some point. But if it doesn't, once again, once we work it out, once you get somebody to help you with the with your computer, that'll all be solved. So right now, let's just don't worry about it. It's just so good to see you.
Good to see you too. Is there enough light on me because I can turn the light on?
I think why don't you turn some light on and see how that goes.
Stop.
Yes, I just stopped it for a moment, but now it's recording again.
Okay, that's the best light I got. I put it on.
That's fine. So how are you today?
I'm doing great, being I'm talking to my friend.
Always your friend, your student, your son. I am all those things, sir, and am proud
Okay,
and honored to be.
and I'm honored, my brother, that you are my friend.
Yeah. So, we often talk about, martial arts, mastery, life, things like that. So, the first thing I always like to do is to check in and say and find out how you doing. Are you taking care of yourself?
I'm taking care of myself, and my wife is taking care of me.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. A long time ago we talked about mastery. And I think that people are very interested in that topic because you're beyond the level of grandmaster. Um, and your definitions of what mastery might be, I think, are really important. So, how would you define the term master? How do you define the term master, Steve?
When you have a fighting son, there are certain things in which you should master. Number one is the basics, and the basics never end for the rest of your martial arts history or venture. As long as you practice, you should always practice basics. And along with basics come distance, angles, timing, targeting. You must master that in order to be a master warrior. Because everything that you do all day long has something to do with this thing, timing and targeting. Doesn't matter what you do, you go through that process all day long, every day. So why not put it into your science of fighting? That distance, angles, timing, and targeting must be mastered. And in order to fight, I would say with an understanding of mastery, which means that having fear or doubt will not exist. If you have the right science for fighting and you have trained that way, fear or doubt will not exist in your fighting or anything that you do because you know and understand that I have a mastery over the science of fighting. Now, I understand at my age, and because of my atrophy with the legs, I'm limited. But the minute my legs go away, hands became much better. And I found that if I still want to be a fighter, I must master the movement of the hand and what they can do and what I create in my science for fighting. So I have done that about the last, I would say, when I was with Wesley, I started feeling my legs. I started doing it then, which maybe about 15 years ago.
What happened 15 years ago?
When I was with Wesley, I started changing my science for fighting for close fighting.
Is that because that was what was needed as a bodyguard?
That was what is needed because my legs started to. I was finding that my legs were getting weak, and I didn't know why they were getting weak. But I had what you call atrophy in my legs. That's from non-use of legs because of all that I had done previously by being football, basketball, baseball, track, all that. Then getting out of it, going to college, playing football, and whatever, and then getting into the Marine Corps. And in the Marine Corps, boot camp is very difficult, very hard. From boot camp, I went into military police for about 7 months and went into recon. In recon, I didn't know what was going to happen in recon, but I found out it's worse than boot camp to me. And then I had to jump out of a plane. Brother Steve, listen to this. I was scared to death.
How many jumps did you make?
I don't really know, but quite a few because I started jumping because I found out that you get $75 a jump. So I was making me some money for the jump. And you could jump as many times you want. And you got paid $75 per jump. So, but each time I jumped, I felt like my heart was going to stop. But I kept doing it. So I knew that I had heart. And I just kept saying to myself, why do I want to jump out of this plane? And I kept thinking, well, $75 will help.
Now, you're talking about how understanding distance and timing and angles removes fear, which is very interesting in Spanish circle. Are you there, sir?
I'm here, but something happened where, I'm back. Let me see if, where are we now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't see you.
I'm trying to come back. It has, I can see where I'm supposed to be. Let me see. It has a big S where I was before. I don't know why it's covering the screen, but it is covering the screen now.
Oh, okay. Well, if we can't get your picture yet, maybe you'll figure it out. But keep talking to me about that. What I wondered was, you said you kept jumping, and it was scary. You also said that if you focus on things like distance and timing and angles and so forth, that you won't feel fear in your fighting science, and that furthermore, everything you do all day long is a matter of things like angles and distance and timing. So, could you, if you had had your fighting science when you were in Force Recon, how would you have used that to eliminate fear?
Well, I don't know because it's eliminated through when you first go into combat. And when I first went into combat, I hit the ground, and I was supposed to stand and get superior. But all the guys that were new, we all hit the ground, and I would say it took me about maybe a minute to get up off the ground. But what happened while I was laying on the ground, I started thinking about the men that I trained with, the men that I'm with, that I gave my word and said I would give my life to protect them. And I wasn't doing that. So I got up, and I'm making it short. But I got up and I looked up and I saw the guy. Somebody had took my place because down on the ground they thought I had been hit. So I started to get my way up, and I could hear staff sergeant, which was platoon sergeant, saying, "Get up, Marine, and knock them down. Get up, Marine, and knock them down." I could hear him saying. So I came up, and I went up and bumped the guy that was in my position. He goes, "Oh man, I thought you got zapped," which means dead. And I said, "I'm here, and I'm going to do my job." And I got up. I was scared, but I didn't have, it wasn't that feared. I was scared, do you understand?
Yes.
That I could die any minute. And as I began to fight, the more I began to fight, the more I understood. And it didn't take away being afraid. Being afraid and fear is two different things. There was times they would tell me, "We're going out in the field. We're going to do this with the enemy and that with the enemy." I felt something. But it wasn't something that would make me freeze and say, "Oh, no, I don't want to go. I'm scared. I'm scared." Well, it's okay to be scared. You can die out there. But the minute I start fighting, all of that went away. I had no fear. I'm not afraid. I'm not anything. I'm going to kill this enemy before he kills me.
So you're saying that when you focused on the aggression, on fighting back, on killing the enemy, the fear then flowed into your dynamic action, so you were not experiencing any sense of freezing.
That's right. But see, you don't really know that. You don't know how to explain that. You just know now, I'm going to take care of business. I'm going to kill this enemy, and I have no fear in going against this enemy. He will kill me, or I will kill him. But like I said, that even the part of being afraid, it goes away that you're actually in physical combat. It may come back after physical combat, where you may sit there and take and say, "Man, the garbage I just went through, I could have died." But the fear, what I could jump right up out of that spot, saying, "Man," from shaking, and go right back into combat again and calm down. Do you understand?
Yes.
And so when I say that the science that I teach will make you absent of fear, doubt, it doesn't mean that you don't feel something when you go into combat. But it means that you have the confidence to know now that I have the training to be able to go into combat and possibly survive that. See? So therefore, as I begin to start to understand that here now, I didn't understand it as well in physical combat, like in Vietnam or somewhere. I didn't understand it as there as I do now. But you have the ability to evolve into having no doubt and no fear. Do you understand? And when you have no doubt and fear, that I have trained to handle whatever comes in front of me, even if you die, you have no doubt and no fear. That's a hell of a person to come up against.
Yes, it is, sir.
Because he's going to fight you until his last breath. See? And he's going to be hard to kill because he has trained over and over and over and over and over, like nobody else probably. And every time, the last fight I had, I was 75 years old, going up against someone that appeared to be in his middle 20s or something. And the thing of having fear, it didn't exist when I went over, moved to fight him. And another thing, Steve, is that I didn't feel my legs like when I'm just walking around. I could feel my legs. I couldn't feel them like they were far to me in my movements. But it wasn't that I was thinking about kicking him or something like that. When I moved and got close to him, I knew exactly what to do because I had trained for that. It wasn't about no ball kick or no hooking in, hitting back kick. It was about beating him down to the ground. And you beat him until he lays down on the ground. We call it making him look up.
Making him look up?
That's right. So when you have that and you get ready to fight, my son had it, the one that got killed.
Yes.
All my children have in them. I instilled that in them by talking to them and demonstrating and telling them how you should feel, what you should feel when someone talks about, I'm going to beat you up. And I said, I trained too long and too hard just to get beat up. It doesn't exist in my mind.
You've trained too long and too hard just to get beat up.
That's right. And when I stand in front of someone that the thought of losing, quitting, or having doubt does not exist in my mind, my heart, nor my weapon science. If there is doubt, there is no doubt. Hell, I'm going to I'll find another way. And there is always another way. That is always in my mind when I get ready to fight. And I've learned techniques that can devastate you if I hit you. I don't care what size you are. I will be able to devastate you because I have, in my science, I have distance, angles, timing, and targeting. All four of those must work at the same time. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I'm breaking all four of them. When I see you, I see the distance that I am from you. I see the angle in which I'm going to strike you. The timing in which it's for me to get that weapon to the target. See the target. And all that at one time. See? And when you have developed the power to go with that, Brother Steve, then you become an unusual fighter that can damage every time you hit. If I hit down with my fist, even with my leg being what it's supposed to be, I will damage you. No matter where I hit you, I will damage you. Do you understand what that does to a person that can't do that?
Yes, sir.
That he just hit somebody, he might fall down, get up, and fight you some more. You should not allow him to do that. You should immediately damage when you hit him. And you can do that, Brother Steve. And it takes away fear and doubt. And it's all made for close range fighting. And people say, I don't let anybody get close to me, fight me that way. You be able not to. The minute that you swing on me, I can close the distance on you. Do you understand?
Yes.
I find that most people, almost everybody I've ever fought in the street, once you get close to them, they don't know what to do, so they try to push you so they can get distance. That's why I have a distance. If my distance is too far, my distance is too close, I can even change the weapon to create that distance, or use footwork to create that distance. So I'm never out of pocket when it comes to striking. I will create the distance by footwork or hand manipulation, whichever way I do it, or shooting up and down. If I say my power is in 12 inches from my opponent, foot to foot, or either if I hit you in the stomach and I leave my hand out and my hand is 6 from your stomach or from your chest where I hit you at. Now, in order to generate power, I need 100% of that power. I need 12 inches. So I will either send it down 6 more inches or send it up 6 more inches to get that 12-inch fighting size. In less of 12 inches, you're never off. I'm never too far. I'm never too close. Do you?
Yes, sir. You have demonstrated how you get that additional, the 12 inches, by punching down to the groin or by uppercutting. You've demonstrated that many times. It's devastating, sir.
Oh, yes, sir. So that's why I say that close range, you can send all and every weapon that you can think of and create at 12-inch fighting. You can't do that anywhere. The farther you are away from your opponent in this medium range, There's long range, medium range, and short range. Long range, you cannot do it. Medium range, you cannot do it. Short range, you can. You can send every weapon in which you can create or think.
How do you create power at that range?
By shooting the angles. Every time you hit somebody, or move, or miss him, he creates an angle. When he creates an angle, if it's too close, the angle that is there may not be any other angle. And I'm just saying, but there's always other angles when you're fighting. But the one that you tried to create, he moves his head back a little bit to put in what you call insert. And when I put in the insert, he will give me 12-inch fighting time. Even though he may change the target and the target goes somewhere else, I'll get that 12. So there's never not a way to get to 12 inches. And next time I see you and we have some people around, get somebody to work with and show you that I can get 12-inch fighting signs sometime, every time.
Oh, that's amazing. 12-inch fighting science.
That's right. And I use different parts of my body to create that 12 inch. And there's no angle that he cannot go to, that he can't go to, that I cannot attack him. Even by taking my shoulders left and right, I can attack him full power from either way. And it doesn't matter what foot is in front or what foot is behind. I can manipulate my feet into a position for 12 fighting signs. And sometimes manipulate them without you even seeing it, because it will slide along the floor, either forward, left or right, or front or back. I can slide my foot at an angle or in a way where it doesn't just jump back, where you can actually see it. The brain actually sees fast movement better than slow movement. Do you know that, brothers?
No. How do you mean that?
Yeah. The brain can actually pick up fast movements, but you have to teach it. It picks up fast movements better than slow movements. If you take your hand and stand in front of somebody's face, you can actually move your hand a little bit towards him, and he'll never pick it up until, oh, the hand's coming. Because of the way vision goes, like a pyramid. And because of that, depending on where you're standing and you do it, it has to come in back and shape before the eyes can actually pick it up. Or actually the brain picks it up. See? But when things are coming fast, because of the speed of thought, my brother, which is average of 24 billion per second, it is created to pick up movements. We just don't know that because nobody teaches that. And even in Islam, they don't teach you that it's created to pick up. You have to figure it out and understand that when you start, like, if somebody moves their hand in front of your face and you shift to your right or shift to your left, then how long did it take for you to actually see that move? And you move. It was instantly. See? There was no delay there. The minute your eyes picked up that movement, you moved that movement. Do you understand?
Yes.
And you're fighting. Remember, I told you that I fought in a tournament and a guy hit me in the face. It's because I fought too early, which meant that I saw the punch coming at a distance that I had never seen before. So I thought it was in the place I normally pick it up, and it wasn't. So when I tried to block, I thought it was there. It hadn't got there yet. So I got hit in the face. But the next time I experienced it, I didn't experience it for maybe months later, was that this guy threw a reverse punch at me. When he threw the reverse punch with the right hand, I stepped inside of his right hand through, at that time, what we call a back knuckle, because I didn't have the kind of strength I have now. I shot a back knuckle in a reverse punch into his body. And the people in the audience went crazy. Whoa! Oh, they were screaming, did you see that? And I'm thinking, what are they screaming about? I just did a front hand and a back hand. It didn't mean anything until I realized. They said, man, you stepped out of that blow. So in order for me to step inside of that boat, I had to what? I had to see it in order to step inside. Do you understand?
Yes, of course.
And he didn't have, and back then, he didn't do a step through like you have the right foot back and you punch with the right hand when you step through. He didn't do that. He did a reverse punch with his back hand, which would be like a right punch back, left hand is forward. He just did a step out to the side and threw that punch. I stepped inside of that punch, Brother Steve, which means I had to see that a much farther distance back in order to be able to step inside, to be able to block that blow. And the thing that I know now, Brother Steve, about fighting and how to present those weapons to my opponent is totally different than when I was fighting at a tournament. I was just another fighter in the tournament. And I knew that I wanted to become a master in fighting, but I never knew how to become a master in fighting. But as I began to, there's a brother by the name of Mozzie Taylor. You probably know him.
No, the name doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, he's one of the brothers that came up in karate. That was one of my students.
Okay.
And I was at the 109th Street School, and he said, "Come on, let's move a little bit." I got out there with him, and I was moving with him, and he was throwing blows, and I was blocking those blows with my forearm, like you do. He was hitting me hard, and I said, "Man," I said, "Why are you hitting so hard?" He said, "Oh, Pop, I wasn't trying to hit you hard." I said, "I didn't know." He said, "I didn't hurting your arm or anything." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Mozzie, what kind of punch are you throwing at me?" He said, "This is called torquing power."
It's called what? I couldn't quite hear you.
It was called torquing power.
Torquing power. Okay.
Torquing power, which all of us do when we hit. We torque.
Yes.
But he done it different because it wasn't that he was hitting fast. He was hitting the impact to feel into my arm and feel my arm going into my waist or into my side. That's why I stopped it. And I said, "Can you show me that?" And he showed me, but I didn't understand. But it must have took me, 20 years later to start understanding what he was doing. No, it wasn't quite that long. No, it wasn't that long. But to develop the manner in which I developed it today, it took me about that long. But when I got hurt as a police officer, and they gave me 3 months off, and he had showed about this torquing. I went and had to learn, teach myself how to torque when I hit. I knew how to torque, but not like what he was doing with that type of power. So I kept training and training and training until I got into a fight. And when I got into a fight, I said that I'm going to put my hand on my face. If that guy moves, I'm going to slap him in the face and bury my hand into his body. Because I had started hitting bad, and I started getting some torque into that. So when I did get in a fight, I did exactly what I said. I got in front of this guy, and when he came down to fight, I slapped him in the face, and I hit him in the solar plex. And I hit him down at an angle into the solar plex. From fighting on the street, that's where I learned angular power, but also torquing power. But to be able to see angles and attack those, and from head to toes, can be attacked if you have the weaponry to attack with. So I started when I was fighting, and I had a chance to put hands up and fight with somebody. I was always devastating them when I hit them. I actually hurt them. And all of them, when I hit them, Steve, it a sound when I hit them. And I went, whoa, am I actually hitting hard? I didn't know that I was hitting. But the more important thing hard was that I was targeting them. You understand?
You were targeting them.
I was targeting them. I hit Pacific Place every time. Like, I can slap you in the face and then slap you with a whipping type motion down your groin. Stop you before you bend over too far and with an uppercut. I'm creating those things. Do you understand? I'm creating angles. I'm setting you up. I've also slapped you in the groin and hit with a elbow forearm, cross angle my body. If I hit you in the groin with the right, your head will fall towards that right shoulder because that's what you you at that. It will fall towards the ankle which I hit you. I just took that head as it come down towards me and bang it across my left side. Do you understand what I'm doing?
Yes.
And when I did that, I had put my bang it across. I had put my left hand towards my right shoulder. I'm banging it across to my left side. Then I hit him left, right, quick movement, real quick, and stop his shoulder from turning too far, and hit back up into the body from that. I'm controlling him as I hit him. And I'm hitting angles every time. Every angles. I hit him up into the shoulder. When I hit him up, he took a step back rather than turn like he was supposed to. Well, because he didn't turn, hit him in the shoulder. I just, from that same hit, 6 inches, I dropped a palm into his shoulder. Boom, and dropped down. It was lower than my chest. See? So I was able to shoot that. I'm seeing angles. As I saw an angle drop down on his shoulder, he actually squatted a little more. I bumped his head with the same left hand. I just bumped his head out away from me, straight in front of me, and cracked his jaw with the right hand. Hit him with the left hand in the face. He stayed at the same height, and I fired on him and shot down at the angle and broke his jaw.
Whoa.
I was learning from the street as to how to fight and how to hit and how to break. I can hit anybody in the jaw. If they're at the right angle and the right height, I will break his jaw. I don't give a damn if his head is wide as this desk. If he got a jaw, I can break it.
Yeah, and you need to have that confidence too. You need to believe that you can. If you hit him, you can hurt him. If you don't believe that, your fighting science is not going to be very good.
But Brother Steve, the way I proved it, I repeated it over and over and over and over and over again. That's not theory. Hell, that's a fact. So I say I hit you in your jaw. I can break it. I can. I know the angle for the hit to break it. It's the same thing with the ribs. I know every spot on your body and the position of your body can tell me whether you're overweight. If you're overweight, the angles in which I can hit you to penetrate down into the, say, the rib cage from the back to the front. And the higher I go into the rib cage on the back, the skin is there to cushion that blow that I hit. Plus, I'm going to hit it at an angle. Never just straight into the back. Always at an angle, up into the back. Always at an angle. Even around underneath your arm. I can tap your arm forward and hit you with the ribs. If you bend over, I can now hit the last of your body, which means if you're not really fat or something and you bend over, your skin becomes tighter. Therefore, I can penetrate that skin down. Do you understand how I've studied the body, Brother Steve?
Yes, sir.
I have absolutely studied the body to know a big fat guy and a small, but I can shoot it down into a big fat guy and put him on the ground. Shooting up into him, I can hurt him. If his stomach is so big and I'm hitting him in the stomach, it's too far to get to, and your hand is not going to penetrate the meat that's on his body down to the bone. So you have to find out on thin people or muscular people how to hit them in order to damage them. I have spent 60-some years now in the science of fighting. And that is one thing that I know and understand. Even with the problems I have with my leg now, the fear factor is not there. Getting beat up is not there. And I know that I'm at an age now where that can happen. But it hasn't got to the point where I believe that it is.
Right. Let me ask you a question. You had enormous, extraordinary clarity in your movement and your perceptions in the martial arts. How have you transferred that into business and relationships? How does the mastery of the martial arts, how did it help you in those other arenas, love and money?
Well, uh, I think that was mostly luck in the beginning because uh, the Big Cliff, he started me in protected, uh, close protection or protective service by having me to move with a prince from Saudi Arabia. He saw something, and he didn't know I was Muslim, but he saw something in me that said that there was something in me that was very likable, a very likable guy, because I was a pretty look there, so I didn't join in on talk about the babies and stuff like that. I just sat there because I had to be there. So he asked Cliff, he said, who is this guy? He said, that's my friend. He said, that's someone I can call on when I have a client like you. And he heard, somebody saw me, we were up in Las Vegas, and they yelled out, Assalamu alaikum, big black. I turned and I said, Walaikum salam, soldier. It was a guy that I knew that was in the nation that lived in Las Vegas. And the press found out then I was a Muslim. I shouldn't be saying this, but maybe I shouldn't be saying that. So I'll kind of leave that alone. I'll drop that.
No, I'm sure that made a difference.
Oh yeah, it made a difference, and how he dealt with me, how he talked to me, everything. Plus, I made some extra money. It could have been hush hush money, but I forgot my train of thought, Brother Steve.
No, you were talking about how your manner of carrying yourself won the respect of the prince.
Oh,
Yes.
it did because he didn't see me being out of order. You know how we are when we're just in the street.
Right.
He never seen me do any of that, and I was always, he would say, everybody can go except for one of you. You can go out, party, and do whatever you want to do, but one of you have to stay. Well, that was me. See, I stayed because I wasn't doing that.
Right.
So I would stay. He would always come to the room. Now, Uncle, oh, you're the one going with me? He says, they put you here all the time? He said, you're tired of, just sitting here waiting on me? I said, oh, no, that's my job. So he started to expect from me and then he started calling me, I want that guy Steve to go with me. He didn't know that I was a Muslim at that time until I said, Assalamu alaikum to somebody. That's when he realized I was a Muslim. And that's when he started to treat me even better than what he did before. He wanted me to be with him all the time and just be with him.
Sure. No, I understand that.
I ate that too.
I think that I have a feeling that everybody should aim at being really, really, really good at something in their life. And that once you find something that you're really good at, you can actually use that as a foundation for everything.
That's right. Yeah, that is true. But I haven't gotten a lot. I've got in close protection with the martial science and dealing with. I stayed with him 10 years, and I protected him 10 years.
Wesley?
Wesley.
Uh-huh.
I got a United States Congresswoman, which is Cynthia Kenny. I stayed with her for 8 years. So that was 18 years after I left Wesley. I was still working. And I learned a lot about those protection and my ability to protect them. And the senses that you have are almost the same as being in the military. You can sense that there's possibility of danger. And when you sense the possibility of danger, then you do something. You're not going to walk into danger when you think that there's a possibility. You don't know. It may not may not have been there because you don't go check to see, and not with me in the. I didn't go, but there are clubs that I go inside and I look inside and I go back and say, well, this is not a place that I could have you. He said, brother, if you think not, we don't do it. And that was the good thing about him. When I tell him about something, it's not right. We shouldn't be there. He said, we'll go somewhere else. And I think that those kind of, we should all experience that. And I think the most experience I got in the, when the point man would come back in combat and say, I don't have a bad taste in my mouth, Lieutenant. I don't see nothing. I don't hear nothing. But I got a feeling that the enemy is there. And Lieutenant Daniel said, that's good enough for me. We'll make another one. And we do something. We may find out a month later, man, if you guys had went that way, you would have run, it's 13, you would have ran into about 60 enemy soldiers.
Wow.
But we listened to each other, and the lieutenant listened to how you feel about it.
So that's, you're talking about instinct, your feelings.
That's right.
Well, how do you develop instinct?
Oh, you develop them in combat now. And if you fight enough, you can develop them here on the street. Brother Steve, you can walk down the street, and all of a sudden you stop, and you kind of walk out into the street a little bit or around the park, and look around the corner. There's a guy standing up on the wall, on the corner with his foot on the wall or something. He may not even know or even care that you're there. But you felt it. Do you understand?
Oh, yes, I've had that. I've had that happen. No question.
So you adhere to those things. When you feel that, do something else. Because if you do what you feel that you should not do, and die on that.
Well, Steve, I think that there is a huge amount here that I'd love to continue this conversation next week and record it, because I just feel, and if you can get somebody to help work with you on your computer so that you know how to go into Zoom there, it'll be easier for us to talk and see each other. I felt for a long time that our conversations should be recorded. And hopefully this conversation will come out well, but if you can just get somebody to help you with that, we can create a lot of good that people will be able to access for many years. Is that something you would like to do?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want them not only to know and understand that I have created a science for fighting, that you can actualize that science for fighting. It has no concept at all. It is all actual facts.
I love it. I love it. So let's try again, like next Saturday at 3:00 your time, noon my time, and we'll keep trying this until we can make the connection solid, and then it'll be easy. So does that sound good to you?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm trying. What I'm going to do, if it's every weekend, I'm going to get Brother Brian to come over and hang out. He knows whatever you ask him.
Well, that'd be beautiful. That'd be beautiful. So listen, I'm going to say goodbye right now, and I just, thank you so much for your time and energy and wisdom, and please give my love to your beautiful family.
Oh, yes, sir. And I get so excited when I'm talking about fighting, bro. I just love fighting.
I know you do, and I want to start getting more of these stories from you. And I just, it's you're gold, sir. You're absolute gold. So please take care, and I will talk with you. I'll talk with you next weekend, next Saturday. Okay.
And some things I may say, I'm not one out there, Brother Steve. So I'll let you know.
Okay. If there's something that you don't want said, we'll work out to be able to edit that out.
Okay, because there's things that I may talk about that shouldn't be said, really.
I understand completely. Is there anything you said in this conversation that you don't want out there?
Just about the prince.
About how he treated you better when he found out you were Muslim?
Oh, no, no, that's fine. It was something, if you, You may not have put it down, but it's something about his action as far as being a Muslim
Yeah.
and asking as far as being a Muslim.
Well, I don't think you said anything about that. I think I'm pretty sure you didn't say anything about that.
Yeah, I think I stopped.
Yeah, you stopped. Okay, so you take care, sir, and I'll see you next week.
Okay, my brother.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.